All right, this is GPSA Executive Board Meeting 45-18 on Wednesday, April 1st, 2026. And I'll call this meeting to order at 10:07 a.m. I'll go into item number 2, which is a period of roll call. Secretary Bonsu, could you please take the roll?
Yes. President Devin Lopez,
Present.
Vice President Alicia Carr,
Present.
Treasurer Olalekan Balogun, Secretary Bonsu is here. To the President Cabinet, Trixie Dunham, Ariana Gutierrez, David King, Blanca Pina, Kyla De Lorenzo, Hugh Lee, Bailey Akovan, and to our faculty advisors, Dr. Bill Robinson and Dr. John Colombo. Nice seeing you.
Present.
Nia Messina.
Present.
And our public have been duly acknowledged. Since 3 of us are here, the executive board members are here, quorum has been established. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll go now into a period of public comments. Agenda item number 3, public comment. Public comment will be taken during this agenda item. No action may be taken on a matter raised under this item until the matter is included on an agenda as an item on which action may be taken. Comments will be limited to 3 minutes per person. Persons making comment will be asked to begin by stating their name for the record and to spell their last name. The board chair may elect to allow additional public comment on a specific agenda item when that agenda item is being considered. In accordance with Attorney General Opinion Number 00-047, as restated in the Attorney General's Open Meeting Law Manual, the chair may prohibit comment if the content of that comment is a topic that is not relevant to or within the authority of the body, or if the content is willfully disruptive of the meeting by being irrelevant, repetitious, slanderous, offensive, inflammatory, irrational, or amounting to personal attacks or interfering with the rights of other speakers. Do we have any public comment at this time? Nia, go ahead.
Hi, yes, Nia Messina for the record, and I just wanted to give a public comment on the emails that Devin and the team from Legislative Affairs put together on the Board of Regents elections. We were looking at the ballot yesterday, and there are at least 2 names on there that I do recognize as either former students or a current student. So I appreciate the push that you all did, and it's very encouraging to see some of our very young people running for board.
Thank you. Do we have any other public comment at this time? I did not receive any in written format. There's also no one physically in the room. All right, going on to agenda item number 4. This is the consent agenda. I talked with Secretary Bonsu about this. We'll just have all of the final minutes up for approval at our last executive board meeting on April 15th, which is 2 weeks from now. So we'll have all those minutes ready for approval at that last one. Going into item number 5, reports and recommendations. I'll give a lot of these reports also tomorrow night at council, but just to provide them here for everyone. Some of the things that we've been working on in the past week. The biggest one was our Soul Hope event, the service event that was organized by our Director of Engagement and Outreach, Ariana Gutierrez. We had a decent turnout. We had about 10 to 15 people show up, and we were able to create about roughly 30 pairs of materials to be sent over to Uganda for their local shoemakers to make them into appropriate shoes for children. So that was really good to see. We had a decent turnout. We had lots of snacks and everything, and I think everyone really enjoyed it. So hopefully we can get similar service events in the future like that if Ariadna passes that torch along. The other major event we had was March to the Ballot, which was this past Monday. We had from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. we had CSUN, GPSA, as well as a bunch of nonpartisan political organizations that are involved in like voter education, voter turnout, that type of thing. We were all tabling out in Pida Plaza, and we had a lot of students come by, get free food, and then talk to us about elections, what we do, what does GPSA, what does CSUN do, that sort of thing. And there was pretty good turnout there as well, so I think students are getting more engaged democratically and looking to get more involved in our elections. Yesterday, I also took a meeting with Peter Gatto from University Housing to talk about the proposal to increase housing rates over the next few years. For context, the last major increase that UNLV housing had prior to 2023 was, I believe, back in 2012 2012 or 2013. So there was essentially like a 10-year freeze on the housing rate for the first-year students in our housing complexes. So they're requesting, I believe, by 2030 to increase that again by 9%. The last increase that they had was in 2023, but again, there was that 10-year period where they weren't able to cover those costs over that time. The next proposal that they gave to us was or that I believe that was already approved by the Board of Regents, was a 5% year-over-year increase at the legacy apartments that are right here off of campus. So that'll be 5% each 2026, 27, 28, and 29. A lot of that is due to the very poor maintenance and upkeep of the facilities. And so the increase in the housing rate there will go towards improving facilities and utilities and things like that. I've also heard from students that they've generally been very happy with the change in leadership over at Legacy. For those who might not know, essentially Legacy was owned by a private entity without really any UNLV involvement. That entity decided to hand over the keys to UNLV sort of at the last second. And UNLV has been doing a decent job at trying to make sure that students' needs are heard and that any issues are being addressed in a timely manner. Very specifically, there was a lot of issues with pests and cockroaches that had been brought to my attention back in like December and January. Luckily, I've not heard any more complaints on that front. And I've also been told by UNLV leadership that there is at least I believe it's a weekly pest person that goes out there and sprays to deter any bugs and things like that. So it looks like things are improving over at Legacy, and I'm really happy to see that. And then lastly, the last one that I have for you all, I have this spreadsheet for you all to look at really quickly. I put together the names of all the candidates that have filed to run for the Board of Regents elections. So we have 5 different districts up for election this year: 2, 3, 5, 8, and 10. Of those, 2, 3, 5, and 8 are either in or touch part of Las Vegas. So 2, 3, and 5 are more central Las Vegas, including Centennial Hills for District 2. And then District 8 is rural Eastern Nevada up by Elko, goes all the way down to Pahrump, and then includes Nellis Air Force Base and that surrounding suburb. So just if you want to take a look here, we have 4 candidates that filed to run in District 2, which is the Centennial Hills area. Currently, the incumbent there is Jennifer McGrath, but there are also 3 other candidates that have filed for that election. In District 3, this is Chair Byron Brooks's seat. He is running again for re-election, but Brian Brill and Eric Swindside have also filed to run in that election, so 3 total. District 5, Patrick Boylan is the incumbent there, and we have quite a competitive election there. 6 candidates total filed, and these are the names of those other 5 candidates in addition to Regent Boylan. District 8 is Regent Goycochea's seat, and I believe he is running for re-election as far as the information that I pulled just yesterday. And so he is running for re-election in addition to these 3 other candidates. District 10 up in Reno, the seat held by Regent Ariscata. He is running for re-election, as well as he has a competitor, Peter Reed. So that is essentially all of the updates that I have over the past couple of weeks. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to take them right now, or if not, we can go ahead and hand it over to Vice President Carr for her updates.
Hello. I don't have many updates. We just had our meeting on Monday night. The sponsorship committee did, and we did not go a large sum over budget. We had like a pretty decent size, or one that was expected for this month. So we ended up approving about $17,425 in funding. I just lost my spreadsheet because I have 5 million tabs open. Yes, $17,425.76 in funding. However, while I was going through and checking each of the applications after they were approved before I was sending out the decision letters, I noticed that there was one student who had gone over their amount for their tenure as a PhD student, so I had to reduce their funding of about $900. So that lowered our budget to like $16,500. I think it was $18.76. So this month was pretty good. It was a lot easier than last month's funding. We only have one more month of sponsorship before the new e-board takes over as well. So yeah, we didn't have any RSO funding requests this month either. So I think there are a lot of people waiting on funding through financial aid. And then I got an email of somebody who said, or of somebody who did email financial aid directly, and then financial aid told them that they don't process GPSA funding, which is quite not true at all. That is the only way that we have our funding. So I'm not really sure what's going on there. I did forward you the email, Nia.
Nia, I
That's
see
all
you have
I
your
have.
hand raised. You can go ahead.
Yes, Christina, for the record, I did reach out to financial aid. All of the award rosters for sponsorship have been processed. So they're either in their MyUNLV accounts or they're going to get to their bank account soon, or at least via check or something, but they have all been processed. And they should check against fall 2025 and spring 2026 for the award to be dispersed. It could have been applied to either semester.
As of when?
As of Monday, for
Okay.
sure.
All right, I'll go through and check because I think there was like 8 people who were asking for funding. I'll go through and check all of their
Mhm.
accounts to make sure it got dispersed, or would it show up already?
It should show in their MyUNLV account. I can't guarantee that it would show in their bank account. I don't know. It depends on how they have that set up, if it's direct deposit or if it's a check or what have you, but it should absolutely show in their MyUNLV account.
Okay, cool.
And for some of them, I would also clarify, some of them it might show as a graduate college related award. So look for the dollar amount for that person, because some of them, because the graduate college supplements $35,000 for sponsorship awards, and a portion of the ones that were awarded came from that pot.
Okay. Thank you.
Hmm?
All right, we'll go to Secretary Bonsu.
Yes, there are no updates on my end. Except I just wanted to say congratulations to Alicia for writing her comps, and hopefully we hear good news very soon.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Going now, I do not believe we have anyone from the President's Cabinet, so I'll go to Business Manager and Advisor Nia Smercina.
All right. So it is currently, this is literally the absolute busiest time of year for me between mid-March to the end of April. The budget season has began. It began about mid-March. And so Devin, you and Ola, I'm going to be reaching out to the president, the treasurer to go over the budget criteria. So they basically set all the budget. They changed softwares again, and we got the training on the softwares. And then they turned around and said that they wanted the budgets done internally within about 5 days. So I'm finishing mine today and tomorrow. Apparently it was due yesterday, which we were told on Thursday. So that's not happening. There's absolutely no way. But I will be meeting with you and the treasurer probably after elections, and we're going to go over the appropriate or the allocations with a fine-tooth comb as much as we can for the next group to come in, and then we can finalize everything. They're actually due to the university by May 1st. The budgets for all of the university accounts. So we're in the middle of budget season right now. We also have the research forum, which we're going to talk about a little bit later on April 18th. And Bill, thank you for signing up to judge. John, you did sign up to judge, which I appreciate you for that. And we know that there are extenuating circumstances which deeply prioritize the research forum. So that makes sense. Then we also
Sorry,
have.
I'm not gonna make it. I'm sorry.
That's fine. Bringing new life into the world is it's a qualified excuse. I'll let that one slide. And then we have our election cycle. So that starts tomorrow, actually. And then we have, what is the final thing? We have a bunch of stuff going on right now. Oh, but of course, we have officer transitions happening right about now. So we're gearing up to make an easy transition for the new officers that do come in, and for the current officers to do outgrowing procedures. And then the final thing is we actually have the cap and gown program happening right now. So we'd have gotten 148 requests to rent regalia. 2 of those, from a quick glance at the spreadsheet, are bachelor's degree students. So I'll reach out to those. So it's really 146 requests. And then one of them was actually a dental student. So if you don't mind, John, maybe we can, I don't know if it's appropriate to give a report right now, but I do have a question about the dental student that applied for cap and gown. dental students don't need to rent anything, right? The dental school provides all of it.
Yeah, we should. So let's talk about that later. I'll see what I
Okay.
can figure out.
Perfect. Perfect. I thought it looked a little.
They might have just been a confused and wayward lost lamb with that.
I, those are my thoughts exactly. And then Alicia had a question.
Yeah, I was wondering, is
Mhm.
there a date where those people will be notified when they're getting their cap and gown? I've gotten a few questions
Mhm.
about it. There's a few questions in the GPSA email, but I wasn't sure what day they were supposed to get confirmation of whether or not they received cap and gown. Yeah. But then I asked Hugh and he said it was last month or last Monday.
Sure. So some of the notifications started to go out last Monday, but then I actually had to pull back because the final day to apply for graduation is actually today. So one of the things that we check against when I do the cap and gown is we make sure that they've actually applied to graduate this semester. So I don't want to allocate a gown to somebody who's not graduating this term and then somebody else goes without. So we actually had to hold back because they get the last applications in today. And so the grad college is going to go over our list of requests and make sure that these people who have applied to one, that they've applied to graduate, and then two, are they actually on track? Do they have all of their forms in? Are they truly going to be graduating? And then we can guarantee it. I know a lot of students are a little bit nervous because the Herf Jones website will close for purchasing online. That doesn't close until I believe Monday. So they will get notifications. We try to line everything up so that way we try to line it up with the last day of graduation and before the Herf Jones website closes. But they can also buy at the bookstore if they need to. So it's going to be on the website and on the communications that they receive when they applied. It says early April.
Okay. All right, I'll let them know.
But that was fair because I did tell Hugh I was trying to get them out last week and we did the inventory and I was doing all the allocations. And then I realized some of these folks might not actually be graduating and I had to hold off.
Makes sense. All right. I was just wondering. I did tell a student that I would get back to them and I never did. So I will do that today when I'm working at the Grad Commons.
Thank you.
All right, any other questions for business managers, Christina? All right, I'll go into item 5D, GPSA faculty advisors. Dr. Bill Robinson, do you have anything for us today?
So just a couple quick things. Just I may have said this before, and if I did, I apologize. But if you go down the names of our regents, it's Brooks, Arascata, Batista, Boylan, Brager, Brown, Carvalho, Del Carlo, Downs, and Fernandez, the elected regents. And Stephanie Goodman has got name recognition, but every single one of them was the first person on that ballot alphabetically. Every single one of them. And I don't have to tell you all the statistical probability that 10 people all just happened to be the first person on the ballot and were the best candidate. Getting people to actually pay attention to regents elections is very difficult. So you have a B person running against Brooks. So that might be competitive. But if you have a Z person running against Boylan, they've got a huge handicap to start with. So it's sad, right? You're a political science person. You know how sad elections are in Nevada when, alphabetical order. I was thinking of adding two A's in front of Robinson and then running for Carvalho's seat when she retires. But R would be really a bad, Colombo C would work, but and you're taking time off. You guys need to read a book called Invisible Women. If you haven't read it, it's a really good book. It goes through all the research about how society is set up to support men, not women, and guys taking credit for their wife doing all the work and then doing 90% of the work with the kid after the kid's born is a couple of chapters of that book. My favorite part is the bathroom part. Equal bathroom sizes and how that's discriminatory. So that's number one.
Try finding a changing station in the men's room. That's the real challenge.
You got to go to the right parts of town. Um, so that number two, uh, it's probable that the May Regents agenda, the president is going to be on there asking to make Chris Heavey permanent. So am I hearing that Devin's not going to be the GPSA president at the May Regents meeting?
Yeah, the new president would have taken office on May 1st.
Okay, so I would suggest there needs to be a lot of communication there because they will ask whoever the GPSA president is to make a comment, probably in public. And if this person hasn't never even met Chris Heavey, he or she might not know the good or the bad. And honestly, I don't know, but maybe if you're going to have a joint meeting of the two, the incoming and the outgoing, that should be that appointment should be a topic of discussion there. And then that's it, I think. That's my the two things that I think we need to be aware of. Anyway, that's it.
Thank you. And just to add on to your point about the voting in alphabetical names first, in political science, we have a term for that. It's called donkey voting. And it's most apparent in Australia, where they have the ranked choice voting and people just go, oh, candidate A, B, C, D, just write down the ballot. But yes. All right. Dr. John Colombo, do you have anything for us today?
I do. Just a brief comment. We talked at the last meeting that I attended, which might have been a couple of executive boards ago at this point, that we were unclear as to whether the professional schools were going to participate in the fee hikes that we're seeing across the board. And I can confirm that the professional schools are not subject to that. So we're not hiking the fees by an equivalent percentage, which we have all welcomed because it's like one of those situations where like we didn't ask for it. We don't want to inflict that on our students. And like we kind of generally hate when INSHE or Central University kind of like does a flat percentage on us just because the tuition amounts are so much different that 12% for somebody in another department looks a ton different than somebody in, say, law or dental, right? So that's just my update is it's confirmed that we're not doing that. We're on our own fee schedule journey. So finally, somebody had some common sense about this.
Yes, thank you. The only professional school that did request a raise was the law school, but that was mostly for faculty cost reasons. At least that was told to me.
Yes, and they made the call, not the, do you know what I mean? That came from them, presumably, not the, oh, we're just subject to the whims of whatever the blanket increase is. So, hey, one doesn't judge, I guess.
Right. Yeah, I know there was, I was told that there were definitely students on both of those, on all the different committees for the professional schools as well. I want to make sure that there was at least one student in the room when that was being discussed. All right, do we have any questions for our faculty advisors?
Oh, actually, I have one more little point here. This may be of general interest to some of the professional schools, but obviously Big Beautiful Bill and the death of the Grad Plus loans, right? Like this has been a big issue for us. We have had some input from folks at the medical school and from financial aid that they're launching. Well, the medical school is using or have contracted with a sort of independent loan comparator site. So in other words, you can go on there. I played with it a little bit. It looks pretty good, honestly. You can type in what you're trying to do as a professional school. You can say, I need this amount for loans, and it will start like kind of like it's almost like Rocket Mortgage or whatever for, well, not necessarily Rocket Mortgage because it's not a direct provider of loans itself. It's like Credit Karma or whatever, right? You go on there and you're like, oh, okay, here's all your loan options. So it does that. And apparently, I haven't seen it yet, but financial aid, UNLV financial aid, is putting together a similar platform that's going to help students like go and compare loans without advocating for one company or another in particular. So I wanted to put that out there. We've had a lot of questions of like, well, what are you guys gonna, when's the loan information gonna come out? And we kind of shrug and say like, well, we don't endorse any loan providers. Obviously, you've got to go out there in the marketplace, not our call, right? Like, but this will be nice because we are experimenting with pushing out some of these comparators that are either, again, contracted by third party. We would welcome UNLV making one, obviously an official one. So that's kind of the state of play there.
Thank you. Have you heard any timelines on that, or is that still just like early work in progress?
I mean, medical school currently is using it, and of course, I'm sure that company would be all too happy to increase the number of contracts around the school. I've not heard any timeline on the UNLV financial aid folks. Um, so hopefully we see some energy from them soon. But I'll follow up and hopefully have another update because we would actually like to have something. Our class is just about finalized now for the fall. So we would really like to have something to push out to those students soon because, hey, the bills are going to start coming. So they're going to need to meet them in some way.
Got it. Thank you. All right, any last questions for our faculty advisors? All right, thank you both. I will go now into agenda item 6, which will be like 2 seconds long. This item has been pushed off. I had a series of emergencies I needed to deal with in the past week that I essentially lost my Thursday and Friday last week, as well as yesterday. So long story short, this will be actually for approval at the April 15th meeting in 2 weeks. It's just, this unfortunately has gotten kicked down the road, but I will have an actual draft ready for approval at that next meeting. All right, going now into item 7, our new business. Item 7A is preparing for the research forum. I'll just turn it over to Business Manager Smarsina just to talk about the different final planning stages and all the work that we put together for the research forum so far. Nia, are you there?
I am. I could not find my mute button. I couldn't figure out where the window went. I'm here. Nia Messina, I am here. All right, research forum. So right now it is April 1st currently. So the big stages that are happening right now are the presenters are all getting a notification today stating their exact session and room number and what time that session will start. We currently at this moment have 72 judges signed up. So what that means is that with, I believe it's 30, I think it's 34 sessions. I have to double check. I think it's 34 sessions. We have 190 presentations. 18 of those are posters, and 2 of those are creative expression. And I cannot remember exactly how many are podium talks. But basically, we push people to podium talks when we run out of poster room, which we absolutely did. So one of our partitions will be in the art gallery. 8 of them will be in the ballroom. And we're back in the student union. We will never again go across the way to the engineering complex ever again. So that's good news. So where we are in the planning stages, students will get notified today of their session and their room and their time that they're going to be starting. What the plan is that after that, there's going to be a little bit of a shakeup. Usually when students get that notification, they start messaging with changes, with requests. Maybe they have to pivot something. Maybe they have a conflict here or there. So there's going to be some shifting at that point, and so on Monday is when the judges will get a notification of what their actual session assignments are. Actually, I think we said April 8th, but if I can get it done by Monday, I will try to get it done by Monday. But I believe we had said April 8th back in the fall. But the sooner the better, right? So anyway, I'm aiming for Monday with the drop dead date being April 8th to the judges. So that's the notifications that I'm working on right now. I'm knee deep in the session planning, trying to align it with the judges that we currently have. We are trying to get a few more. I try to get 3 judges per session, where we don't have enough for that. But so a lot of folks are probably going to be doing 2 sessions. So Bill, thank you for signing up to judge, and you'll probably be judging 2 sessions. So appreciate you always. Yeah, I appreciate both of our advisors always jumping in on this. But if you also have any faculty who are interested in judging, I will take a few more if you can strong arm anyone. I think I'm out of strong. My arm wrestling skills are pretty pitiful, apparently. So I don't have as many as I'd like. We are also piggybacking up with OUR, which is on Friday, the Undergraduate Research Symposium. So graduate students are allowed to judge the symposium. And I know that they're probably looking for more judges. So if Devin, maybe we can, when do you plan to send your next email, actually?
Like my student body email?
Yeah.
Probably next week. But I was going to reach out to Rafi as well to see if he usually reaches out to me to ask for student participants or for graduate student participants as judges. So I can reach out to him today and just see if he has any open slots still he needs to get filled.
Okay. Yeah, just to see if what they might need, especially since he lost his program manager was Nicole Thomas, and she actually just recently took a different position, I think over at the Gardner Institute. So I'm sure he's probably looking for some assistance on Friday. And then Thursday is actually the postdoctoral. This Thursday, sorry, I'm thinking April 16th is the postdoctoral scholars showcase. On April 17th, April 16th, Thursday, April 17th, Friday is the undergraduate symposium. And then Saturday, April 18th is the graduate and professional student research forum, to where we have 190 presenters. So it's actually pretty good numbers, especially considering it was more of a truncated time frame, since the last forum was in May and we accepted people up through about April. So for the number of abstracts we've gotten, typically we've been over 200, but 190, considering we've had about 2 months less to give students to apply for forum. 190 is quite a bit. We're doing one session winner per session. And then we have a run through later, I think this afternoon. Nope, it's tomorrow, to run through the actual award ceremony. Devin wrote a wonderful letter to put in our forum abstract booklet, and it's going in the program. And then Devin and Alicia are covering the stage for the award ceremony. But there's a lot of detail, so I don't want to overwhelm too many things. So those are the points that we're covering now. And then on Friday, this coming Friday, April 3rd, I actually have a graduate commons staff meeting starting at 11 o'clock. So obviously, well, Alicia is going to be there because she has staff. And then also the officers are welcome to be there as well. But it's just going to go over some graduate commons staffing things. And then we're also going to be talking about the research forum, because the staff is going to be working at the research forum. And one of the things I wanted to propose to the board is that last year we did close the graduate commons the following Sunday after forum. I'm open to considering that, especially with like staffing constraints and just hourly wages. I'm debating if we want to pick a day to close the graduate commons next week, possibly that following Sunday, just to give everyone a little break.
I have a question, Alicia.
Yes.
Is it going to be open the day of forum? Because we could use everybody's hands.
It will not be that morning.
Okay. Well, I am.
I've actually thought about just closing it the full day. We opened it in the afternoon, and last time they said there was like 2 people that afternoon.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So maybe we do just close it the full Saturday.
I'm okay with that. The only reason I wouldn't have been last year was because it was like very close to finals. This year it's really not. So I think it's fine.
Would you like me to just have us vote on it at the next exec board meeting? Because it'll be April 15th, so right before forum.
Oh, we could, I mean, technically we could do a vote. Theoretically, this one doesn't technically need a vote, but would it feel more appropriate to do a vote on what dates to close it?
Yeah, just to make sure that we have like a consensus on it. Even if it's just we close it on just Sunday or something like that.
Oh, then we could actually have a documented trend. We'll close it on the day of forum, and then maybe at least the following morning at the bare minimum. Okay. Yeah, I'm absolutely fine with that. So we're proposing on April 18th to close the graduate commons the entire day, April 18th, and then open it. Well, actually the whole day, April 18th, and the whole day, April 19th, Saturday and Sunday that weekend, due to the research forum. Maybe I could post something that if students have conflicts or anything, they could always message the grad commons.
Yeah, I'll include that on the agenda for next time.
And maybe if we can include that in the student body email, that would be lovely. Maybe executive board is proposing closing at these 2 dates. Email me if you have any issues with this.
Got it.
Thank you. That's very helpful. So yeah, we're going to go over all those specific volunteer roles on the staffing meeting on Friday. The biggest part is going to be session chairing, and one of our we had a judges subcommittee and how to plan for the judges. And one of the students, who's actually one of our council members, he had an excellent idea. And I thought this was fantastic for the poster sessions. But he said we should have a like designated space, like a corralling space, where we pull all of the judges, because sometimes they start judging asynchronously. And they're supposed to be judging synchronously. It's in the instructions, but I've been told it's a lot to read. It's fine. actions, words, whatever. They're saying that the session chairs for the poster sessions should gather up all of the judges, all 2 to 3 judges that they have, and make sure they're all in one spot and like reiterate the instructions one more time. And then we're trying to have a session chair and a timekeeper both. So at least for the poster session, so that way the timekeeper can make sure all of the student presenters are ready to go. And then the session chair can make sure the judges are ready to go. And then they embark on the actual session, whereas the podium talks will have a session chair, probably not a timekeeper just because everyone's sitting in the same room, but the other ones, it's a little bit different because it's a little bit more mobile. I thought that was a brilliant idea to corral and do it that way. And then Talitha Laput from the grad college is helping us put together trainings on April 10th. So right now we have some holds. We haven't sent out anything on calendars, so I acknowledge that some folks probably won't be able to handle or schedule these holds. We're looking to do one April 10th and then possibly the following week, as long as things aren't too crazy or busy for training, or at the bare minimum, at least record the April 10th training so that way other volunteers can see what they're supposed to be doing. And they're going to have written instructions as well. So they'll have an actual training for the session chairs. They'll have an actual training for the people who are going to be doing the check-in stations. It shouldn't be too long, each one. And then folks will have some kind of guidance on what to do that day. So I think that'll help a lot of folks. So next week and the week after, those are going to be the major weeks where we start collecting posters. We'll start collecting other volunteers doing pre-event setup. That's going to mostly happen at the Graduate Commons. We'll start printing out name tags. New update with the name tags. There was a administrative faculty day. Got it, nailed it. And there are these 4x6 name tags, and they had the name of the attendee, and then on the back it actually had like the day of schedule, and it had what breakout rooms they were assigned to. So we could do something similar where we have the session assignments on the back of the card. My only issue is that if something changes last minute, because of it would be the judges' cards that might change last minute, but we could always do that with the label. But we're probably actually going to get those printed. So at least we might not have to do any name tags. Well, we might send them out to be printed instead of having them printed by our little in-house printer. I said Alicia just because you were talking about name tags. She's done the name tags for like the last 2 years at least.
That's A-okay with me.
Perfect. I thought that might be your response. And then for pre-events and then the last thing is the posters. So we are funding 26 posters. We have a Qualtrics form. So today, when the notifications of session assignments go out, the link for folks to submit their poster is going to be in the ones for the students actually doing poster presentations. So hopefully, and this is kind of cool. I guess there's a Qualtrics thing now where once they receive so many responses, it'll automatically close. So we have this quota setting set up so where it gets 26, it'll close itself, theoretically. I'm kind of excited. It'll be fun. It'll be great. I don't have to give anybody bad news. We'll see how it goes. But that'll go out, and then hopefully we can get those over to IGS by early next week, probably by mid next week. I think those are the updates so far. What do people have questions on? I know that was a lot of information. Does anybody have questions?
I will say, Devin Lopez for the record, just really quickly, that the new system that we adopted this year of having students apply to themes like beforehand really helped a lot with our session planning, because all we really had to do was just go in, make sure that what the students picked sort of actually lined up with what their project said. And it just made it so much easier to group them into like actual sessions together. And I think that helped streamline a lot.
I think that did too. And it was actually fun doing that with other people, like other warm-bodied humans, not just by myself. That was nice.
It was like we were doing a 1,000 piece puzzle together.
It was. Yeah, now I'm doing the judges one, which is quirky. So some of the session times will line up a little differently. Some people are very specific. Like they're like, I am only judging physics. And it's like, cool. I will figure out how to work that in.
All right, do we have any other questions or updates regarding the research forum? Seeing none and hearing none, I will go ahead and close that item then and go into item 7B, which is just a discussion regarding the transition to the new executive board. As we all know, our elections open up tomorrow evening and run until April 8th at what time do the polls close on April 8th? Nia?
5 p.m.
5 p.m. Got it. Okay. So April 2nd, tomorrow after the council meeting until 5 p.m. on April 8th. I believe after that, the Elections Commission will be notified of the vote tallies. And then are we going to meet with that, or do you just send us the tallies and then we confirm with you, Nia, that?
So actually, I'm wondering, I would like to meet with the executive board right after the council meeting, if possible, maybe keep them just like for 15 minutes. I
Okay.
just need to hone in on timeframes. I'm sorry, is this what you're asking me, Devin?
No, I was talking about like once the polls close on April 8th, will the Elections Commission be called for an actual meeting, or is it just you send information out and we confirm it?
No, it's an actual meeting, and that's where I was going at with after the council meeting on April 2nd. I would like to see if everyone from the commission can just gather briefly, so we can hone in on exactly what date that meeting will be.
Got it.
It only needs to be about 15 minutes, to be totally honest. It's pretty short and sweet. And I'd like to put a few holds where we at least have quorum. I know we have a huge elections commission this time. I think we need 5 people to make quorum because I think there's 8 folks on it. Which in future, you might want to write a memo to the Rules and Ethics Committee to revise the commission, maybe limit it to like 4 people. Just because of that quorum situation. I was like, did not think about that. But we need at least 5 people to have a quorum. It can be virtual, but just in case there's election complaints, I just try to have, we knock on wood, we've never needed them, but I'd like to have 2 or 3 meetings ready to go. So if there's an election complaint that needs to be heard, the Elections Commission's ready to hear it. So they don't make the rules, but they do enforce the rules, and they'll do it in a meeting. Yeah, and so in the election filing packet, which all the officers, if you guys remember that day when you submitted that, there's some wording in there about election complaints, hearings, and basically they sign away saying that they acknowledge that will happen, and then we can have these meetings. Obviously, we try not to say their names directly, but we might say like the candidate running for X position posted this thing, but we can close the meeting if we need to, if we discuss any person's names. But so I just want to gather them up after April 2nd just to see what dates we can quickly set those up for. And I can try to set out a when to meet. Honestly, I'm just getting a little bit buried with all the other pieces that I haven't been able to send out a detailed email. It's been haphazard at best, so I just haven't sent it yet. So if we could just meet them in person, that would be great. Or in person online. Keep them after for a little bit. Then I think it was, so elections close on April 8th at 5 p.m. They have to be certified by, ideally, we could have them certified by the 10th, as long as there's no outstanding complaints, but they have to be certified according to the rules by April 15th. So no later than April 15th.
Got it. Okay. Well, that actually works. So yeah, I was going to add on to that. I was going to invite all the newly elected members to the exec board meeting on the 15th, just so that they can get an idea of like how these meetings run, just initial transition documents handed over to them, but then probably schedule just a like something we wouldn't need open meeting law for, just like a workshop that the outgoing and the incoming exec boards could just meet and talk about like, what is your daily life like as an officer, and just talk about sort of the jobs that they're about to get into. So yeah, I'll make sure that we get those transitional meetings set up.
And there's also a question of advisors for the incoming board.
Oh, right. Yes. So
faculty advisors.
As a notice to our faculty advisors here, our constitution requires that the executive board votes on their advisors every May. So just be aware that that is going to be up for a vote at some point in this May.
If y'all want to fire me, you can.
Well, that won't be my decision. That'll be someone else's responsibility.
Or if you want to, basically, this is our way of subtly saying like, you have an out if you want it.
I'm very happy to stay.
Okay. Thank you both. Thank you.
All right. The only other thing I wanted to mention on this item 7B, the reference link here, this is just a link to a shared folder in our Google Drive. It is housed under the GPSA Executive Board subfolder in the GPSA shared folder. There's nothing here right now, but once I'm just asking that the executive board, and I'll notify the cabinet as well, just to create a small document, maybe a page or two, just talking about like things that you should be aware of on a daily basis for the job. Mine is probably going to be very long. It's just going to be like a directory of who to go to with a lot of issues, but also just talking about like the different responsibilities of the president, like committees you have to sit on, things like that. So if each of the officers could just develop something, a small guide for the incoming person that's going into that position, that would be really great, just to make sure that they have any information, any commonly asked questions available, that information available to them. Are there any questions out there about transitioning to the new executive board, elections opening tomorrow, anything along those lines?
Actually, I did want to point out that on the homepage under announcements, you'll see the officers, the announcements. I need to put these in actual email, but they are in an announcement for the candidates. I'll put it in the chat.
Oh, for the candidates. Got it. Okay.
Sorry.
Devin, Bill Robinson for the record. 5 years ago or so, the Senate put together, several old Senate chairs got together and put together kind of a, here's 10 things you need to do to get started to be Senate chair list. And everybody who's come since has appreciated that. You might get, all the old, many of the old, not old in the sense of old, but you know what I mean. You've got lots of people, and you've got, your vice president who can throw some weight in there and some other folks, and you might try to put together at least the start of what could become a permanent document that would guide people coming in.
Yeah, I can reach out to them. Thank you. That is the announcement thing. Got it. Yes. All right. Any last questions on that one? Seeing none, hearing none, I will go ahead and go into item 7C. This is for possible action. I forgot to write for information only on this one. So I will require a motion to open for discussion.
Motion to open. Leave your car.
Thank you. Motion made by Vice President Carr. Do I have a second? Second made by Secretary Bonsu. All those in favor of opening item 7C for discussion and for possible action, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, please say nay. Any abstentions? All right, thank you. We have open item 7C for discussion. Originally, I had planned on just scheduling this as an information only item. I just wanted to get an initial discussion out there about priorities or major issues that the current executive board sees will continue to be an issue for the incoming executive board and for the future council. So I'll just go ahead and open it up for discussion on any items that Alicia or Laurentia, anything that you think would be pertinent to hand over to the new executive board, of saying like, hey, keep your eye on this policy or keep your eye on this debate because it's likely going to come up to the board again or something like that.
Oh, policy. I was thinking internal.
Or internal is also fine, yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna still need to be asking for more funding for the sponsorship program for sure, like no matter what. And I would recommend that whoever's in this position next not only goes to the Ways and Means Committee and ask for additional funding, but also starts or contributes to conversations about increasing our association fee.
Yeah, that was what I was putting in the chat, and then I accidentally sent it too soon.
Actually, so on the student fee, increasing like the GPSA student fee issue, the constitutional reform package that's going to be up for a vote tomorrow at the council does include that language from CSUN that would allow for a direct increase process. We wouldn't have to go through UNLV. We could just submit it directly to the board of regents. There was another student government in NSHE that recently had a constitutional amendment denied by the chancellor. I don't know what the content of that amendment was, and I don't know what the reasoning was from the chancellor. This is just what I was told by general counsel here at UNLV, Peter Goetz. But so Peter's working through the different issues that are related to that item. And he's going to get back any feedback to me tomorrow, hopefully before the council meeting. But if everything goes according to plan and this constitution is fortunate enough to be adopted, then we will be able to use that process starting this fall. Mia, go ahead.
Do you know what institution that was? Are you willing to say?
I don't.
It wasn't UNLV.
I've only heard through rumor who it was. I don't know for sure which institution it was.
Was it UNLV?
The constitution that was denied.
Yeah.
It was not UNLV. No, it was a different institution within NG.
Thank you.
But yes, so Gen Council here at UNLV is just being extra cautious of any items that would eventually or possibly be denied by the chancellor in the future. So Peter's just putting together any advice on that front first. But yeah, if adopted and approved by the chancellor, the new constitution would allow GPSA to initiate a fee increase process in September, and then have it be voted upon for approval by the Board of Regents, probably either in December or actually, no, I think March is when they do all the student fee increases. Yeah, go ahead, Nia.
Oh, sorry. So maybe just for the record, so it's clear on this and for the notes for the next executive board, but what that process that CSUN currently follows looks like. And to my understanding, they usually do some kind of a student body-wide vote over the summer. So that way they have evidence for the student fee increase. So they can go to, maybe they do the changes. Do they do the vote in the summer or in September?
Their process does not require a student body vote. It's just the president of the student government would go to, in CSUN's case, it's the vice president for student affairs. In our case, it would be the dean of the graduate college. But we would just meet with our immediate advisor, let them know that we are going to pursue a fee increase. It doesn't really require their signature of approval. It just requires that they notify the faculty member that that's going to happen. And then the organization can actually develop the full proposal to send over to the Board of Regents.
Okay, and I do know that when Marnie Dow is the CSUN, one of the CSUN advisors, and I know that they do some kind of a vote. So maybe it's not required in the Constitution, but I know they did one last time. They did a fee increase, which was $1, and they charge per credit hour. So they increased it by basically roughly $15 a head, which to me was like baffling. But anywho, but they used the vote that they did, which I can't remember if it was in the beginning of the school year, if it was done over the summer or both, but that was how they used evidence to demonstrate that they had a approval essentially from the student body for a fee increase. They had support. So maybe that would be something I would recommend to the incoming exec board to put something together, which would be easy to do. I mean, we just point to a few programs and these guys aren't RSO funding gone. Like it's not that it wouldn't be that hard to put together, but anyway, just one of my things I would encourage.
Yeah, we could probably have probably a vote of the council to authorize an election probably in September, October on that topic would be good.
Okay. In May.
Oh, if we brought it up to the council in May, it would be dependent upon if the constitution is approved and goes through the full process. So probably it'd probably be safer if the council would consider it in like August and then have the election set for September or October. Laurentia, go ahead.
Yes, so I think that Robinson has already said this, but I think it's very important to open it up for discussion again about whoever the new president is getting a relationship with Dr. Heavy, because Devin, you've done a very great job with establishing that relationship with him, and I don't want us to get to a point where everything that you did like gets to nothing. So if it's possible, maybe the first few meetings where the new president has to meet with him, if you could spare some time and go with him and then, continue conversations and, make that transition very easy. It's not going to be like an issue where he has to start building all over again when you've done a lot of the foundation work and stuff like that. So that's one thing that I want us to talk about. And then the housing situation with Legacy 2 is something that we should bring it up to the new e-board. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, and then to Nia's point in the chat that she sent in, it's on the announcement, so I think we can talk about it here. Please stop me if I'm not allowed to say the name. But
Can.
Trey,
It's
I
public
can.
knowledge.
Got it.
Yep.
Okay. So yeah, Trey Curtis Brown is our only candidate, eligible candidate for president for the next executive board. He is currently administrative faculty at UNLV, but also an MBA, and I believe
He's also a council member.
yes, he's our current MBA council member.
Yes.
So yeah, I think he has really good relationships already within UNLV, and so it should be I think that's a good sign as well for him to be able to maintain those relationships with academic and executive administration. But thank you for that, Laurentia. That's a really good point.
One other item we could open up, and maybe this could be at the May council meeting that Trey will run. And also I would like to reiterate that May is a transition meeting. So while your terms will technically be over, we do ask that all of the outgoing officers are in attendance at the May meeting, as well as the incoming officers for that transition meeting. But the call for cabinet directors. Do we want to see if we can talk to the incoming executive board about opening that up, probably right after they start their terms?
I can work with them once the election is certified. I can call them like that initial workshop meeting we do with
Okay.
the between the outgoing and incoming. We can work with them to say like, hey, you have all these positions to fill, so you should probably start thinking about that really quickly. But yeah, I'll get that on their radar as well.
Honestly, that'll be, if it could, so if the elections are certified, because forum is on April 18th, Devin, if you could take over that for the last 2 weeks of April, whenever it works out, I am going to be dead
Mhm.
the week of April 20th. I'm going to be completely honest.
I unfortunately am out of town from the 22nd to the 26th, but otherwise, yeah, I'll be in Vegas. I'm at a conference during
Week of the 27th.
Got it. Yeah. Also, I don't want to get too off topic on this item, but we'll probably be wrapping up in just a couple minutes. For the May council meeting, I think Teresa had told us last year, but we found out a little bit late that the oath of office for GPSA would just be the state of Nevada oath of office. What we can do at the May meeting is I can open up the meeting, do the oath of office for all the incoming executive board members, and then once that oath of office is done, then we can just hand it over all the reins to them at the meeting, just as like a formal transition ceremony.
Yes, Christina, for the record, can we add that to the bylaws or something somewhere, just for reference?
Yeah, I'll work with them on that.
Thank you.
And I will also probably try to stay on as chair of the Constitution and Bylaws Committee, if not just a member. So I'll still be around with any operational issues I can help solve through the bylaws as well. All right, any other priorities or major issues? I'll have this come back up again to the board on April 15th. Hopefully, if you all can take some time in the next 2 weeks to think of any policy issues that the new exec board should be looking at, especially with the Board of Regents. I know one right now that's going to be an issue is the 90 credit degree proposal that's up in front of the board. When I was speaking with Dean Crittenden, I believe last week or the week before, it was during grad council with all the graduate coordinators. She had mentioned that if this 90-degree plan is adopted and students are not very careful and they still want to go into graduate school, they would essentially be denied by a lot of programs already at UNLV. So we have to make sure that if that is the policy that the board decides to go with, that students are made very aware that from the very beginning of their degree plan that, hey, if you're looking or even considering going to grad school at UNLV or really anywhere, make sure that you are taking the right amount of credits or the right degree plan for you in order to make that happen. But I think that will be up again for consideration at the June Board of Regents meeting. All right, any other policies or issues that we should hand over to the new executive board? Go ahead, Nia.
Nia Smersina for the record. So the student fee procedure that NG follows, just literally understanding it, digesting it, processing it, transparency of it, conflicting information. It is vague at best. And I think you did an incredible amount of work trying to figure it out as a doctoral student who's trying to you did research, you literally took it on as a research project to try to figure it out, which is absurd. So I know that Student Affairs is doing like a student fee transparency project. I'm talking about the entry level student fees, understanding how the system works. Why do the fees get approved 6 months after the fiscal year starts? There's lots of questions. And then I'd also like to reemphasize, I know that housing, there are some movements in housing. One thing I would like to suggest is possibly working with CSUN for this. This is probably obviously the incoming board, but maybe like a roommate matching fair. That was an idea that some other universities do. And it would be a no-cost situation. It wouldn't be posting a website. It would be a venue where students would be able to meet up, at least in person on campus. Maybe find subletters, something, beginning of the school year over winter break. End of the semester, but basically like a roommate matching fair. I called it Rebel Needs a Room, but that was in my head. I actually haven't said it out loud yet. And then there was one more piece. Oh, of course, childcare. The C Campus grant ran out. That was the largest issue for grad students. We got so many emails about it, and we just had nothing to give. So maybe looking at the UNLV some preschool, maybe just having some conversations with them and understanding what their operations are like. Just start with a discussion.
Actually, can I tip in a small issue with that from personal experience? John Colombo for the record.
Yes, go ahead.
Yes. So on the UNLV childcare, I don't know if many of you know, but a lot of these students and some faculty, including myself, were using the Methodist church that was across the street from main campus as kind of an overflow because they had a child development center there. Great program, but that like was kind of recommended by, in fact, UNLV childcare because it was like so impacted. This is the Methodist church that UNLV has purchased the property from, and the child development center there closed last summer, which if that was the overflow and sort of alternative for many people in the campus community, this should be cited as a need to expand our childcare options at main campus there. I'm just throwing that in there. UNLV's continual acquisition of commercial property has also diminished, if you like, local area quality childcare for students, faculty, staff, whomever.
Thank you. I was not aware that was like a sort of an overflow area.
It was definitely recommended, and I put my kid there, and so like he was on the waiting list. I put him on there the day he was born. It was 2 years before I got a call saying like there's an available spot. And so it was recommended by the folks at UNLV there, and they were not wrong, but they said that child development center just across the street is geographically convenient, but is also excellent, and they follow many of the same kind of like curricular things that we do here, and that's gone. The they're going to reopen in the Southwest somewhere when they finish building their new building with their UNLV money that they got for the property, but that's like it's years away, and geographically it might as well be on the other side of the world for folks who want that campus community there. So this is a pressing need for even more daycare spots available at main campus as opposed to fewer because we've lost some capacity there.
Yeah, thank you for that. I'll include that as part of our recommendations.
And yes, Marcina, for the record, I never got into the preschool ever. Not once. 7 a.m. Whenever that list would open. Oh, you're number 8 on the list. How? I submitted at 7:01. Every 6 months.
Yeah, I begged, borrowed, and stealed, but there was no way. It just didn't happen.
This is a common theme, guys. This has been going on for years, and now the Methodist Church is gone. Say it, walk into a room and just mention this, and you're going to start a conversation.
And it does touch our students as well because that child development center also took I think they actually had various grants and stuff as well, to like help subsidize like low income or lower income childcare and stuff. So it totally was a key component for I think a lot of folks. I don't know numbers, but I know that there were a number of students and faculty who had their kids there.
Just for context, Nias Messina, again for the record, I just put it in the chat. It was called the C Campus Grant. I can't remember if it was a federal grant. I think it was a federal grant, but it's now gone. So students who were eligible for the C Campus Grant, basically it got them free childcare or extremely discounted childcare. And then the childcare development centers like the Methodist Church and UNLV's preschool, they would hold, because of this grant, they would hold a specific number of spots for C Campus members, which a lot of them were students again. So they would hold spots for those students. So a lot of folks who got into the preschool literally probably only got in because they were on that C Campus grant. It's probably a huge reason why I didn't get in because I never applied for it and I should have. But now
Yeah,
it's gone and they're
sorry,
without.
Nia. Sorry about
Yeah,
that.
you're
I didn't mean to cut you off. I'm just saying too, I think it's interesting. You may not be aware, Devin, or whoever comes next or whoever's interested in this issue, that the UNLV daycare system, they reserve a third for faculty, a third of spots for students approximately, and then a third of spots for like the general public. So I don't want to make any huge statements, but I had questions particularly around like student spots there. If there's such a demand for student spots there that we're like on wait lists for years, is there some reason we're extending a third of spots to people who are not particularly connected to the campus community? And like I said, I don't want to launch a huge controversial thing there. I'm just saying that's the current, if you like, payer mix, and I don't understand it personally.
All right. Do we have any last policies or issues that you would like to see as part of our official recommendation to the Duke Executive Board? Again, I'll have this item come back up for possible action on the April 15th meeting. We'll just finalize this list and I'll put together an official like memo over to the new executive board with all of our recommendations and opinions for their action in the new legislative session.
Alicia Carr, for the record, should we revisit our annual goals and then also send them to or inform the incoming executive board of like things that we weren't able to quite finish?
That's a really good idea. Yeah, if we can, I'll send a message in Slack and see if we can divide and conquer that. Because I think we split it up. We split up the annual goals originally across the executive board, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, we can just go individually by the ones that we put together ourselves and have our recommendations from that also ready to go.
Cool.
All right. Seeing and hearing no other comments or recommendations on item 7C, I'll go ahead and close that out and go into item 7D. This is a call for new business items. These are items for consideration at future meetings that may be suggested. Discussion is limited to description and clarification of the subject matter of the item. Is there any requests for new business items? All right, seeing none, hearing none, I'll go now into item 7.8, or not 7.8, item 8, announcements. Are there any announcements from the executive board or faculty advisors or anyone else on the call? No, thank you for joining us, Dr. Pombo.
Just so you know, off the record, Bill Robinson for off the record, even though I'm on the record, there's a distinct non-zero probability I'm about to end up as faculty senate chair again, as vice chair the next year and senate chair again the year after, because I'm stupid.
Good luck on that. Any other announcements? All right, I will close item 8 and go into item number 9, public comment. Is there any public comment in accordance with the notation mentioned earlier at the beginning of the meeting? All right, seeing and hearing none, I will go ahead and adjourn this meeting at 11:17 a.m. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.